Hey guys, hey, we're back with part two. I just wanted to finish up and just kind of clarify a little bit. We were discussing, the psychology behind why men tend to become players. And so we were last stating that it's trying to fill an emotional void. Being a player with so many females wanting you, or, you're in high demand, so on and so forth. It does validate like your sense of self, where you're going in life. It makes you feel important, that sort of thing. But also, I just wanted to step back and say that this is kind of a delusion for them because they are placing their value and self worth on a number, the number of women that they're playing. They're not putting their value of self-worth on themselves. So the higher the numbers go, the more value they hold. And this is just really, it's a sad delusion. This normally will stem from people, gentlemen especially, that have something traumatic in their childhood, maybe like an unloving mother, an unloving family who constantly verbally criticizes them or puts them down, oh, you're worthless, you can't do anything right, that sort of thing. And it's really quite sad. So the mother then would, instead of just holding up this wall, she would withhold attention, and she would withhold love, and withhold affection, so on and so forth. And that's really, really sad. And so it's sort of like the more the child is cut down, the guy's cut down in life, the more it's drilled into their heads, and then they start to believe it. It's like the bad stuff's easier to believe after you start hearing something for so long. You kind of start to believe it. And that's the case with a lot of people that have, childhood, like emotional trauma, things like that. Maybe not so much physical, but the lasting impact of emotional abuse is far worse than physical abuse. Physical abuse, the scars heal. Emotional abuse, they never go away. So that actually, just kind of brings me in to the next point, which is for the players, for the men who are now players. To them, it's all just a game. They play women, because they can. They do it because they enjoy it. They do it because they want to. They will find a target, which, we would classify as a woman, female. And, to make themselves have more of a challenge, they will pick a more of what I like to call an unattainable target, because generally, rule of thumb, some of these targets they pick are women who are very self-conscious, they're naive, they're, just, oh, nobody likes me kind of thing, so that's easy. It's easy prey. It's easy target. And another, something that we, really need to look at here is the fact that these men, they don't look at women as people. We're not people. We are targets. We are objects. We are things. And because they are looking at us as objects, and targets and not people, and that we are just things, this makes it a lot easier for them to have the mentality that, okay, well, they're not people. I can't hurt someone's feelings. Objects don't have feelings. Objects don't have, hurt, emotion, so on and so forth. So when these gentlemen start identifying their targets as targets instead of women, it makes the women less personal. It makes it a less personal, assault on, the target, mentally, so on and so forth. And it's just really sad. Like, it's really, really sad. And, another thing, they play this, it's all a game to them because it is something to distract their mind. It stimulates their mind. It keeps them busy. It numbs any, sense of emotional pain or wrongdoing. So they can pretty much just, live in a fantasy land and, not address the root problem, not address the core issue here. I mean, this to them playing this game because that's what it is. The chase is the game. Chase is the game. Okay. So, this is a way for them to stay in what I like to call their play pretend. Okay, this is a way that, you know, chasing women and playing the game and playing the field and, you know, blah, fucking blah, you know, this is a way to escape their reality. So they don't have to deal with it. We don't have to deal with any problems. Oh, I'm not, you know, psychologically fucked up. I'm not emotionally inept. If, if you got 400 Facebook friends that are all girls, you're emotionally, psychologically, no, I'm not even going to say fucked up. You are way inept. Okay. And the minute, you know, one day you start looking at these women as women instead of targets, there's a whole new world out there. I'm just going to say that. You know, so basically, you know, it helps them, you know, they can't assign a specific emotion to these women, you know, and they have a hard time doing that because you have to understand that, you know, these not only are men like who don't understand, you know, emotion or feelings or what exactly they're supposed to do with them, you know, and like I said, you know, the parent, the female figure, you know, so on and so forth, you know, that has built a wall to be put up. They're used to it. So we're just going to, you know, make these people not people, and that's going to be okay, you know, and in actuality, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way, nor should it work that way. You know, so the next issue here that I want to add to this is this stems for me for someone who is perhaps, you know, deep down embarrassed or ashamed of themselves. And this has a lot to do, you know, with the way that they were grown up. It's like a self-loathing kind of, maybe not so much loathing, but, you know, it's deep down, they dislike themselves. Maybe they were put down so much, you know, as a child, you know, the common phrases, oh, you're worthless, you know, you're the black sheep of the family, you can't do anything right, you're a mistake, blah, 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 which is also emotional and psychological manipulation, usually by the mother. Okay, so in a sense, because they're embarrassed like this, when a man has all these women, he gets to go out and play the field. Oh yeah, he's got the upper hand, you know, so it allows him to mask who he really is, because now that he's playing with all these women, boy, he can be anybody he wants. He can mask himself. He's the reinventor of himself. He's the best goddamn man that's out there, and they'll believe it. They'll believe it because they don't know any better, you know, and, you know, so being adored, you know, to them is like a wish fulfillment. And, you know, they never addressed the core root issue. Was it the fact you weren't loved as a child? Was it the fact, you know, you lacked emotion? Like, what is it? The problem is they never address it. The next one I want to go to is defense mechanism. These men generally, we're talking about, like everybody knows, my bad boys, the men, you know, like prison boys, stuff like that, you know, I call these men of violence. Now, don't get me wrong. I said that they were men of violence. I did not say they were a violent man. You know, men of violence, I can almost safely say that since birth on, they have probably never, you know, backed away from a conflict or, you know, a challenge or anything like that. And that's because retreat is not something that they see as an option. It's not necessarily that they like the conflict. Retreat is never an option, which ties me into why they play the game. Okay? They're not going to take no for an answer. Okay, so they're going to keep on and keep on and keep on until they get what they want. That's what the game is. They will get their way. Okay, you know, retreat, a girl tells them no, boy, they're going to come at her tenfold. Okay, and they will make sure they get what they want out of her. And once they're done, poof, bye, bitch, you're gone. Okay. Getting close to the end, thrill of the chase. Obviously, they enjoy the hunt. It's